This is Kenner Superpowers Collection Green Arrow. The Superpowers Collection was a beautiful line of action figures based upon DC Comics superheroes, made by Kenner back in 1984. Green Arrow here came out with the second wave of action figures, so he still had his own mini-comic. Sadly, figures from the third wave just didn't have it anymore. By the way, this was Green Arrow's mini-comic, and it was a nice colored mini-comic, 13 pages long, so you could read it just before playing with your toy. Also, like the others, Green Arrow came and fell. He came with a beautiful art by Dick Giordano on his card. There were three great comic book artists behind this storyline: Dick Giordano, George Perez, and Jack Kirby made the designs for the costumes of these toys. Now, on the back of the card you had, I hope you can read it, a small bio for your character. It says powers, weaknesses, enemies and secret identity. This time we have a contest to win Superman's cape. Up here we can take a look at the other figures from the first two waves of superpowers, and on top of the card we had the instructions to activate his gimmick. Squeeze his legs together to activate power action archery pull. Now, the figure itself, just like many other characters from the line, stands just above 4 inches tall, which means 11 centimeters. And I've brought here Fisto to show you Green Arrow's height. Well, you have to know that the Superpowers collection came out just to contrast the success of the Masters of the Universe storyline. Green Arrow could twist his head, his arms can move up and down. Now they are coming up together because of his gimmick. By the way, if you want you can move them individually. Also, his legs can move upward, forward and backward, and he can bend his knees like so. Now, Green Arrow, unlike many other figures from this line, came with some accessories, of course, because he needs his bow. And here it is. There is a nice bow made in an extremely bright green plastic. And with the bow, you've got this incredibly thin plastic string, also made in bright green plastic, which you are supposed to peg on both the ends of the bow, so it will look just like a real bow. It looks really nice, but I'm afraid I could break it, so I won't do that. And lastly, Green Arrow came with two microscopic accessories, which were his arrows. Now, they are again made in bright green plastic, like the other accessories of this character. And I don't know if you can see it, but they have nice details sculpted on, like the feathers at the end of the arrow. Now, to activate his gimmick, you had to put his bow in his hand, in this way. And when you squeeze his legs together, his arms spring ready to fire into action, like this. It looks amazing. I love this toy. Look at it. Ready to fire. I love it, really. And it works extremely well. Now, like the other characters from the line, he's got plenty of details sculpted on. So, his gloves are sculpted on, He's got a nice G emblem on his belt. He's got a nice beard, like he did in the comic books back in the 70s and in the 80s. And on his back we have a beautiful quiver, which is nicely detailed with some arrows molded on and nicely painted. And also, if you want, you can store his loose arrows in his quiver. If you can see it, voila! It's really great. This figure here is really beautiful for display. Also, he's got arms molded in position to look nice with his bow in his hand. Well, if you remember the movie about Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves with Kevin Costner, well, Kenner also made toys for that movie by recycling Green Arrow's body. Yes, the body that Kenner made for Robin Hood in that toy line was a retooled Green Arrow body from the Kenner Superpowers collection. And if you want to see how the new TV series could have looked like back in the 80s, well, I've brought here his pal, the Flash. And now they can fight crime together. They look amazing. Ciao!